Alright, the time is 12:41, Sunday, March 4th, 2012. And this is a continuation of the previous video. My name is Leslie Williams, and I'm in San Diego, California right now. And the reason why I make this video is for you. To be totally honest with you, it's for you. You would not believe what I know in reference to what is happening towards me. Because what's happening towards me, in the host video, that this YouTube video is, that you access this YouTube video from as far as the comments feature of the host video, you'll see me showing you multiple things in reference to a USA Today article and in reference to a printout that was ascertained from the organization titled www.Freedom from Covert Harassment and Surveillance. Now, there are some people that have gotten online that have talked about how it's possible that that group has been infiltrated by government officials pretending to be targets or pretending to be there to advocate for the situation as far as what Freedom from Covert Harassment and Surveillance advocates for. Understand this and be clear. Look at the name of that organization. Freedom from Covert Harassment and Surveillance. My name is Leslie Williams. When you looked at the printout that I showed you, how the NSA harasses thousands of American citizens daily, the thousands of law-abiding citizens daily by the usage of remote neural monitoring. What is remote neural monitoring? It is the literal ability to be able to read your mind in real time, and it's capable of so much more. Okay, it can literally, it's coupled with gang stalking, organized stalking expeditions, because they work hand in hand with the handlers of the remote neural monitor. Because the remote neural monitor does not just monitor your evoked potentials, it's also used to stimulate what's entrained. And what do I mean by that? What they do to targets of organized stalking, they're into a bunch of stuff, a bunch of different nasty stuff. If you go to Google and type in a gang stalker confesses or a gang stalking tech, everything you need to know, you'll find a manifesto of a gang stalker. Print it out, actually better yet, copy and paste it into a Word program, and then section it out in the Word program before you print it out. That way when you research what I'm talking about, you can go back and better able to cross-reference it in reference to the different sections. It clearly shows they're into research. Okay, it clearly shows that they're into all types of criminal expeditions in reference to how they operate. Now, it doesn't really describe everything that they're into at all. It's organized crime within the system, and what they do is use technology in order to be able to break targets. Okay, for entrainment, for multiple aspirations, and they also go after whistleblowers, and a lot of targets of this crime become whistleblowers. I'm both. I'm a target of this crime, and I am also an activist, and as a result of being an activist, I am a whistleblower. So what is it that I know? I know a lot. You would not believe what I know. And that's, you know, and what is happening to me in my life is a direct result of two things. The original aspirations they had for me, and because now I'm a whistleblower. The original aspirations for me were to literally use this technology for brain entrainment. Now, what is brain entrainment? I'm going to have to give you a small analogy of what it is right now, but this small analogy it can be used in the broadest sense of the term in reference to normal everyday human behavior. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, here's the analogy first, and then I'll help you understand. Hang on. Hang on a second. Excuse me that I'm smoking a cigarette, but I have to take advantage of the time I have to make these videos. And so, look, where I'm making this video at and me smoking a cigarette is not important. What is important is what I'm saying. Understand this. This is the first analogy in reference to what brain entrainment is. And if you want to understand what I'm talking about as far as this being a criminal crime to the extreme, go to YouTube and type in, this is not the analogy, but just do this as a sidebar. Go to YouTube and type in bioethics Timothy W. It's where the organization Freedom from Covert Harassment and Surveillance went to the Bioethics Commission that was in Washington, D.C., and multiple targets of this crime went there as well. Timothy W. talks extensively about brain entrainment. So what is brain entrainment? Here's a good preliminary introduction in reference to what it is. Alright, say if today's date is, well, I'll use yesterday's date. Say if yesterday's date, I make a decision. I'm not a gambler at all, but this is a perfect analogy. Gambling is against my religion, so I don't gamble, never have. I think I bought a couple lottery tickets in my whole life, but that's about it. But this is a good analogy because this helps to show the type of criminality that they use this technology for. And this is one of the areas, just one, but it's a perfect one. Now listen to this very carefully. Pretend today's date, well, I'll just use today's date. Pretend today's date, well, today's date is March 4th, 2012. And say if anybody, like sitting in their home right now, and they decide, well, I'm going to go to the casino. That's what they'll say. I'm going to go to the casino. And they'll think to themselves, I'm going to go to the casino. They had the thought. Then they get up, they get dressed, they get their car keys, they hop in their car, and then they go to the casino. And then they win. Then they go home, and they're happy that they won. Okay? Well, when that person, hang on. When that person had that thought, I'm going to go to the casino, okay, that was one thought, one neural network. Then in the same neural network, he had the decision making of, I'm going to get up, I'm going to get dressed, I'm going to get my car keys, I'm going to go. Then this is all one neural network, okay. Then he went there and he won, okay. Then he came home. Now what they do with remote neural monitoring is that through the monitoring, they're able to literally ascertain what the resonance frequency is of that particular neural network. Hang on. Just stay with me. Now, what is a neural network? A neural network is more than just a thought process, an evoked potential, or a set of evoked potentials. It is also the associated motor cortex behaviors of getting up, getting dressed, getting your car keys, going to the casino, and whether you win or lose, all the thought processes, emotional states, and associated motor cortex behaviors. It's all one neural network. Okay? This is literally a neural network. If you can like go to, let's say, like an online preliminary introduction into electronics, you'll become familiar with parallel circuits, and series parallel circuits, Wheatstone bridge circuits, whatever. You'll see a diagram, a schematic of what a circuit looks like. Well, basically a neural circuit is somewhat literally identical to the same thing that an electrical circuit is. It's nothing but a neural network that you can pictorially represent by looking at electronic schematic of an electrical circuit. Okay, and what the evoked potentials do in this neural circuit, you have evoked potentials, motor cortex behaviors, and then you also have the associated emotional states and feeling states that are incorporated within the neural circuit as a result of certain mental and emotional states being felt and experienced and processed during these evoked potentials and associated motor cortex behaviors. They identify that particular neural network using remote neural monitoring. And how they do this is because of the simple fact that when a neural network is active, it emits a flux. What is a flux? A flux is a frequency that a brain emits. It's literally a frequency that a brain emits as the neural circuit is either dormant or active. Okay? Because it's the electricity that's generated between the syntax, the neurons, when they're communicating with each other. And the syntax and neurons are nothing but the evoked potentials that are processing, the thought processes that are processing as you're thinking, I'm going to go, and then the associated motor cortex behaviors of getting up and going. Okay? Well, it doesn't matter if those are on unconscious levels or not. Okay? It's all one neural network. Now, what they do is when they see that this neural network is activated, what they do is identify and mark the resonance frequency of that circuit by identifying by seeing that the magnetic flux is generating a frequency. They take that frequency and through a mathematical equation they identify and mark it and assign it a number. Okay? As a result of this, they can go back at a later date and stimulate that neural network. Once they have the frequency identified, what they do is match it with the technology they got, okay, and they can step it down. In other words, like say if they're piggybacking off of a power line, even just your because the brain emits on an extremely low frequency, bioelectric frequency wave spectrum. Okay, so what they do is they piggyback on any frequency, any electronic frequency in your area, at your home. They can piggyback off the electronic frequency of even cable wires, telephone wires, anything. And then what they do is step it down to modulate it until it's literally interfaced with the same bioelectric frequency of that specific neural network, the resonance frequency of it. And then once it's been stepped down and modulated to where they are interfacing and transmitting on the same exact frequency of that specific neural network, they stimulate it by sending a matched pulsating frequency to it in order to stimulate that neural network back into activity in conscious real time, in current real time. Like, in other words, I had that evoke potential, that neural process of going to the casino today, which means that once they have identified and marked it, they can stimulate it by modulating their frequency down to match it, and then stimulate it by transmitting a frequency from their end, modulating it down to interface with that neural network, and then pulsating it tomorrow. As a result, that same specific neural network comes back into conscious forefront tomorrow, which will be tomorrow's real time, and it's stimulated underneath the perceptual radar, which means the target has no idea they're being stimulated. So they just think I'm having the same thought of going to the casino, and then that neural network is reactivated. Okay, do you see what I'm saying? And as a result, all the same everything that is within that neural network is reactivated. The motor cortex actions of getting up and going, and it doesn't matter if you win or lose at the casino. The only thing they care about is getting you to go there. And why is that? Because these gang stalking expeditions is nothing but attached to organized crime, and their syndicated members are within the community and within the system. And what they do is will stimulate anybody to behave in specific behaviors they have already engaged in the past. Do you see what I'm saying? So if organized crime has a hold of this technology and has identified your brain mapping, okay, then they can literally get you to do specific things, repeat specific behaviors, including previous responses that you have had to similar situations. That's why gang stalkers repeat the same phrases. That's why gang stalkers get along your route and will repeat the same street theaters towards you along your route. And if you respond or react to it in a specific way, they'll identify and mark that neural network to get you to respond and react to it the same way on a different date. And why is that done? For multiple aspirations. So when you can see how this technology can be used with physical gang stalkers, then we can come to understand what might happen to a 17-year-old that ran away from home, who has no idea about the extreme criminality that's on our streets. They suck her into prostitution. They get her to think about, well, all I gotta do is be with this one guy. All I gotta do is be with this one guy, and I'll be able to eat tonight. I'll be able to have a place to sleep tonight. They identified that neural network and will stimulate, and then they get her to go and sleep with a guy or multiple guys. They identify that neural network and stimulate her every single day. It's mind control. I make these videos for the average citizen to help him understand the extreme powerfulness, the exacting, methodical, extreme criminality that it's attached to, okay, the handlers of it, and their incorporated members that are syndicated to it, the physical people they put along a target's path. So this is the reason why I make these videos. This is why gang stalking expeditions make targets like me homeless, to exploit the destitution that's created to exploit the target using this technology. My name is Leslie Williams. Google gang stalking or organized stalking and universities. I did the other day and got 5 million responses. I gotta stop this video. Look at the next video below this one in the comments feature.